Alright, so since tonight is the night of my local skirmish and I need to get stuff Monday, I'll be showing off the deck that I plan to play tonight with Skirmish Season 7's really weird rules where you get a sideboard. Well, kind of 52 cards, but you know. So it's a dash deck, so I get a sideboard. And dash is a 4 intellect, 20 health young hero, mechanologist, which says you may start the game with a mechanologist item with cost 2 or less in the arena. If it, hold on, there's if it's considered to have it is considered to have entered the field. So we just start with really any mechanologist item in play, which is just good. So for equipment, we have our main one, Talishar the Lost Prince, which is a 4 attack, 2-handed sword. Sword on mechanologist, I know it's weird. For 2 resources, once per turn attack, and put a rust counter on Talishar. At the beginning of your end phase, if Talishar Lost Prince has 3 or more rust counters, destroy it. So that's our main weapon, because it's just if we have 2 resources, we swing for 4 more damage. But then for stall your matchups, we have Teklo Plasma Pistol, a 2 attack weapon. It's a 2-handed pistol, mechanologist. Action, remove a steam counter from it, attack. And then for 1 resource, if there are no steam counters on it, put a steam counter on it, go again. So it's against something like a Guardian, we're just going to be able to. Then we have our main helmet, the Crown of Province, which is 2 armor blade break on a head. And when this defends, you may put a card from your hand or arsenal on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card. Then we have our alternate helmet being Viscert Tech Model 1, which has action, destroy it. Whenever you boost this turn, draw a card and put a card from your hand on the top of your deck. Go again. But it also has Arcane Barrier 2, which is the main reason we run it. Like at all. It's just that AB2 is really good in some matchups. Then we have the generic Goliath Gauntlet, action destroy. Goliath Gauntlet, the next attack action card you play with cost 2 or greater gets +2 damage. Go again. It's just going to boost all of our attacks. And for stall your matchups, we have Galvanic Bender. It has another ability, but we have it for 1 battle worn because it's 1 more health. Then we have our chess piece, Teklo Foundry Heart. It is a 2-drop battle worn, and once per turn action for 1 resource. Banish the top 2 cards of your deck. Gain 1 resource for each mechanologist card banished this way. Activate only if you've boosted this turn. Go again. And finally, Achilles Accelerator, which is our third piece of Arcane Barrier. So with these 2, we have 3 Arcane Barrier for something like a wizard. We have instant destroy it, gain 1 action point, activate only if you've boosted this turn. So it's just different matchups call for different things, but we always have Achilles Accelerator and Foundry Heart. Normal matchup, stall 1, something like a wizard. Normal, something like a guardian or something else, or like an illusionist that we think we're gonna get stalled out by, like a Dromai. And then just the normal. So that's all out of the way. We can get on to the main deck, which we get to have more than 40 cards in because of the new rules. So Dash lets us start with an item in play. And so our normal item is always going to be our 1 of Teklo Pounder, which is a 2-drop item, blue, no block. When it enters the arena, it enters with 3 steam counters on it, and when it has none on it, destroy it. Then it's once per turn effect. When you boost an attack action, remove a steam counter from Teklo Pounder. If you do, the attack gains +2 damage. So our first basically attack each turn that we boost is going to have +2 for the first 3 turns, which is a lot of damage. Then we have what we'll start with if we using our pistol, which is induction chamber. which is a red 2-drop item, no block, action for 1 resource, put a steam counter on it with go again, and then once per turn attack reaction, remove a steam counter, put a target mechanologist pistol attack gains go again, which means if we have this in play, we can, in like a matchup against Guardian, we pitch a blue, we attack for 4 by put put a counter on one, put a counter on the other, shoot, go again, counter and shoot again. And we run 2 copies of that. Neither of these sit in the normal deck. These only go in for when we're in the Stallier matchup because Skirmish Season 7 has 52 card deck with kind of like a sideboard. On the other cards in the, I'm going to keep pistol here because they also work with the pistol. In the sideboard for Stallier matchups is Plasma Purifier. It's another 2-drop red item. Once per turn for 1 resource. Put a steam counter on it. If it doesn't have one, and that has go again, once per turn action, remove a steam counter from it. Target Machnologist Pistol gains +1 damage until end of turn. Go again. And we have 2 of those. So this is basically the entirety of the sideboard that we got, but it's just incredibly helpful because it means if we're up against something like a Dromai, we can just take out 2 Ashwings or an Uvia without having to use any boost, because those decks really want to stall us. I've been stalled countless times in Mechanologist by Brute, by Dromai. Surprisingly enough, never by any of the Prisms I've fought in Blitz, but you know, the pistol is just there for control. Because Mechanologist actually plays really well as control. Oh, this is not sorted for some reason. It's not sorted well. Everything's falling apart in front of me. So, I'm trying to decide where I want to start then, because I thought I had it in numerical order. I'll start with these, because it's the funniest attack in the deck. We have 6 T-Bones in every color. They are a 0-drop, red attacks for 3, blue attacks for 1, yellow attacks for 2, block 3, attack action that says if we've boosted this turn, it has boost, and if you control and attack this combat chain that was boosted, so if this is our second attack, we've boosted before, they have to block with an equipment. And the blue T-Bone swinging for 1 that they have to block with an equipment it just eats their armor so easily. And you can just take out a lot of armor with such a simple card, and it's just, I've had games where with that and a swing for 8 on turn 1 because of the Goliath and Pounder, it was like I went second and then I just destroyed all their armor on my first turn. But it combos really well with our 2 red Scramble Pulses, which is a 2-drop attack. Red block 3, the T-Bones also block 3. Everything in the deck blocks for 3, which is something I really like after having played class like Ninja, and some of the assassin stuff doesn't block either. But that's just how the game works sometimes. It has boost, they also all have boost, so but this says equipment have -1 while defending this combat chain, which means if you can get a boost and then 1 or 2 T-Bones, one of these Scramble Pulses and 1 or 2 T-Bones, you just take out a decent amount of their armor because it gives their armor -1, and then you might be hitting over it either way because they have to block with it. But some classes do have the 0 armor cards like Goliath Gauntlet. Like some people are running something like an Achilles Accelerator as 0 block technically, so it can be defended with to block the T-Bone. Then we have the truly best Mechanologist card in the game. 6 copies of it, every color, 0 to 60. It is a 0-drop, 4 attack on the red, 3 attack on the yellow, 2 attack on the blue, zero drop with boost that blocks 3. It just it if you want to play Mechanologist, you should run as many 0 to 60s as possible. It's so helpful to just be able to you throw another boost into your amount that you've boosted already. It just sets you up so well to do anything you want and just kind of make some turns work. Because Foundry Heart we need to have boosted for, well, every card's Magnologist, so we can turn one resource into two off just a 0 to 60 and then banishing the top 2 cards. For reference, boost is you may banish the top card of your deck. If it's a Magnologist card, the attack gains go again. So you just want to boost everything. But then we have 2 Pulse Wave Harpoons, because that's the only color it's in is red. And it's a 4-drop for 1 that blocks for 3 with boost. When this attacks a hero, they reveal X cards from their hand, where X the number of times you've boosted this combat chain. Choose an action with defense less than or equal to X, then add it to this chain link as it defends this card, as a defending card. Essentially, it just says if this is the 3rd boost, which it can easily be with this deck, because we have 12 0 drops that boost, we just rip an attack we don't want them to have out of their hand. It just makes it so they can't throw it at us. Then we have one of my favorite arts for the class, 6 copies of Combustible Courier. It's 4 on the reds, 3 on the yellows, and 2 on the blues, and they all block 3. Boost, 2-drop. If Combustible Courier hits, the next attack you boost this combat chain gains +3. This is one of the most, people will just throw things into block, like the 4, and it can get the boost from our Techlo Pounder. It's the first card we play. It's just, people throw so much stuff to stop that +3, because then we have some more just generic Mechanologist goodness with Zipper Hit, which is a 1-drop block 3 with boost as its only ability. But we have 2 reds, which are 5 attacks, 2 yellows, which are 4, and 2 blues, which are 3 attacks, and just hit them with it. You have that 1 extra resource, you can go in with Zipper Hit instead of needing to activate, because the main reason we need Foundry Heart is we pitch a blue to play one of our 2-drops. We activate Foundry Heart, we swing Talishar. And that's just a generic term, but we can only do that 3 times. So the 1-drops, like the Zipper Hit and the Pulse Wave Harpoon, are just good to have in addition. We do run another 1-drop actually, which is these High Speed Impacts, which is a 1-drop, block 3 with boost, Mechanologist action. We only run the blues and the reds, no yellows, so it's either a 2 or a 4 attack. But it says if High Speed Impact hits, the next attack you boost this combat chain gains Dominate. And so it can just set up giving one of our stronger attacks Dominate, and people will also tend to block those out because they are afraid of Dominate. Then we have Payload, which is 2-drop, block 3, Mechanologist, 6 without boost. But it says if you've boosted this combat chain, Payload gains Dominate. So it's just, I almost ran Overblast, but this is a popper for Illusionist. And Overblast is base 5. So, and then finally we have 6 copies of Throttle. The 2 reds are also poppers for Illusionist, because there are 6 attacks, the blues are 4, and the yellows are 5, but they are just block 3s with boost, so we just can start a turn by Throttle for 6, which would become Throttle for 8, and if we use the Goliath, it would be Throttle for 10, as just our first play, and then they're just going to throw a bunch of... All Mechanologist does is just boost to hell, and then do a quick test hand of the main deck. We really just take out some reds if we're fighting like a stallier thing, because we need all the blues possible, because the pistol setup is absurdly resource heavy. So we'd keep things like just our, like we'd take out things like the payload unless it's an illusionist. So like against Guardian, we don't need payload because we would. I think some people are gonna be playing Yoji tonight because it's actually a good hero. But so the test hand, I'm gonna cut the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. This hand would literally just play it as pitch the blue throttle. Actually, if we're going second, because we get the item, starting with an item is very important. Never forget that you start with an item. We get a Teklo Pounder and Goliaths, which we can use. So we could legitimately just, we wouldn't do this on turn 1, but you always want to go second with Magnologist if you get the choice. So, but a turn on this hand could look like crack the Goliaths, pitch the throttle, combustible courier for 5, 6, 7, boost it. It has go again. So 7, go again. If it hits our next attack, we boost gains +3. Then we do another 3 off the zipper hit, and then another 3 off the 060 for a total of 16 damage. At the 14 if we don't use the gloves. Which the average block in a hand is 12, so that's pretty good. Especially, and that would take away all their cards if they full blocked. Which is, in all honesty, the main way you beat Mechanologists. The reason things like Illusionist work so well, but that's the reason we have the Teklo pistol now, because the new rules just say we can have these 4 cards, because normally it doesn't matter because you need high arcane barrier numbers, but we have built in AB3 into the class for because they sure did make this class and give it those. But this has been my dash deck that I'll be playing at the Skirmish at my local game store tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. And honestly, after the Skirmish, if dash isn't banned, the rules go back to normal for Blitz. I'm just gonna take out the because I'm just gonna take these out if the normal equipment rules go back, and then just the deck works the same. I just don't have the pistol. I would also take the pistol out because I don't need it. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.